Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of film score, checking out a song from the second Lord of the Rings film, The Two Towers. We're going to be looking at Gollum's song. This was composed by Howard Shore. Let's dive into it, see what they're bringing to the table today. Beautiful progression so far. Yeah, gotta have that uplift in there. Dude, there's so many emotions. There's darkness, there's fear. There's also wonder.
Where once was light, now darkness falls. Where once was love, love is no more. Don't say goodbye. Don't say I didn't try. These tears we cry are falling rain for all the lies you told us, the hurt, the blame, and we will wait to be so alone. We are lost, we can never go home. So in the end, I'll be what I will be. No loyal friend was ever there for me. Now we say goodbye. We say you didn't try. These tears you cry have come too late. Take back the lies, the hurt, the blame, and you will weep when you face the end alone. You are lost, you can never go home. You are lost, you can never go home.
Ooh. Yeah. The cymbal roll with the French horns, just such a good combo. I mean, the brass as a whole is just very uplifting, very empowering. Yeah. Nice sforzando there at the end. The timpani roll underneath really builds that energy. It is interesting, though, what the end is supposed to represent. I'm gonna be completely honest here. I've only seen Two Towers once, and that was multiple decades ago. I saw it in theaters, and I was so young. I don't really remember much about it at all. I read the novels a couple of times, but also still while I was younger. So I don't know when this would have fit into the film, but it seemed to be at least from Gollum's perspective. And there's just nowhere I could think that there would have been a song, lyrics being sung in that film. I'm gonna have to look this up. When I look up the lyrics, see where this was placed. Anyways, yeah, coming back to the ending though. The entirety of this song is a mix of mostly negative emotions. There's fear, there's gloom, there's sadness. It feels like someone who is just not in a great place, which makes sense. It is called Gollum's Song. It's probably about Gollum. He is not in the best of places, physically or even mentally and emotionally during the film. There are moments of clarity, though, moments of uplift, of brightness, a momentary strength. That fourth chord throughout much of this track tends to lean in that direction. We heard this at the beginning of the song. I like that. It is a moment of clarity, a moment of strength. And I not mentioned, I heard a line, something about not being able to go home, showing up a couple of times. I wonder if that's supposed to be some foreshadowing for Gollum, the brightness in that moment. But I don't think any positive comes out of it until the third film, the third book, and even then it's kind of iffy if you want to consider that a positive story for Gollum. And this leads into the ending, which is bright and triumphant. We have these big French horns with the big timpanis and you know the cymbal swells, and all of this is growth. It's growth with positive harmonic properties under it. It feels strange to be put at the end of this track. I think ignoring its ties to a larger story, this would imply that that fourth chord that pops up every now and then in the chord progression, it foreshadowed this ending, that there is a brightness within this darkness, and that by the end of the track we have explored. It's where we've landed. I just have a tough time understanding that within the context of the tale, unless I'm forgetting something. But I find that to be an interesting way to wrap up this track, given how not optimistic it is throughout a majority of it. This is a wild week for film score because I was kind of hoping for film scores, songs, or I should say music without lyrics. And yet, I'm pretty sure everything we've checked out this week has been more. Actually, yeah, we had Duran Duran, pretty typical song. Public Enemy, pretty typical song. The Sinners track, Magic What We Do, I think was probably the closest to what I would want for this week theme-wise. And then we get this, which at the beginning I thought we were going to get a more traditional film score track. It is orchestral at the least bit, but it's also a verse chorus track. And the music underneath is not really that active. We have a chord progression. The chord progression evolves. We have some brass and some strings giving us some lead melodies, but once the vocals come in, we have a solid 50% of this track that's just chords and the vocal melody. Minor ornamental ideas coming in, but nothing that's really strongly associated with having the music tell the story. Much like pretty much any song you can point to in the mainstream area of music, chords with a vocal melody on top is pretty much what you get with most music these days. I was just hoping for something a little deeper this week. I'm kind of tempted to extend this another week and check out some other tracks that might fit better with my expectations. Not to say that I've disliked this week. I've had a good time with most of these tracks. It's just, it's like asking for an apple and getting an orange. I like oranges, but it's not what I wanted. And, technically most of these tracks did show up in a film and were written for a film. I think the Public Enemy one is kind of, it borders whether it should have been included in the week or not, given that it was kind of supplemental to the film itself. Any song could have been played there, and I think the message would have gotten across for the scene itself. But it was an interesting track to break down, especially lyrically. So I'm not upset by it. But I do think we're going to do another week of this just so we can get to some other things that are hopefully traditional film score stuff. And I guess that about wraps this one up. I really like the vocal delivery here. And I think if I had anything else to add to it, it's probably in this area of conversation. There is a breathiness to the vocals, especially at the ends of specific lines, that feel exhausted. They feel fatigued, as if they're expending the last of their energy just to say this sentence, or in this case, sing this sentence. That they're pushed to the brink, pushed right up to the edge of their being, of their existence. And they need to get this out, but it takes the last bit of energy they have. And I can feel that in the music. And I think that lines up really well with the darkness and the fear in the chordal information. It lines up with the few lines I picked up here about feeling lost and not being able to find your home. And it feels tired. And I love the escalation of this too. We get a little bit of volume swell at the third verse chorus setup. In the vocals, the instrumentation comes up a little to support this, but the vocals also push up like half an octave up, something like that. And they really start to belt out the lines at the end of the song. And it creates something that kind of felt a bit mellow overall, as if this weight were crushing the vocalist and they just couldn't get this message on. They're just, everything's a bit softer, everything's a bit more controlled, everything's a bit more centered. And here at the end, it almost feels desperate, belting out as high as they can get, and just trying to make this message heard. It is great for pacing and general escalation of emotional energy in the track, but I think it also works within the story of it. A lot of that comes through the vocals. Again, the music is supporting in this. The music is there entirely to present the emotional atmosphere, and that's about it. And I do enjoy the emotional density of it. It isn't just 4 chords, and they're not all the same chord, at least by property, which we might hear in more mainstream music. There is emotional complexity as we shift through these dense and varied chords. But ultimately, that's what the instrumentation is on this. It's a lot of chords. And there's not really a lot to dive into there aside from the emotional resonance, which I've already touched on. The feelings that I got listening to this and how they mix together to form this complex take on the character. So let's dive into some lyrics on this one. All right. Found out that this plays at the end of the Two Towers, the credits sequence. So that might be why I don't remember it. I don't know if I stayed for the credits sequence. I don't remember seeing a film 20 years ago, like all the little details of that adventure, but I don't remember this song at all. It is sung by Emiliana Torrini, which is pretty cool. She did a fantastic job on the performance there. It is about the pain that Gollum has, looking back on his past and seeing what he's done and feeling alone because of it. It says, where once was light, now darkness falls. Where once was love, love is no more. These tears we cry are falling rain for all the lies you told us, the hurt, the blame, and we will weep to be so alone. We are lost, we can never go home. I don't know. Can you spoil it? I mean, I suppose you could spoil a 20-year-old movie. Almost 25 years. Actually, it's 2002, 2001 when Two Towers came out. Anyways, I'm just going to say it right here. If you don't want any spoilers for whatever reason, this video is pretty much almost over. You can just duck out, I suppose. Gollum has multiple personality disorder. There's another side to him called Smeagol, which is his old name. It's kind of his original personality. I won't go into why he has this split, but it's why many of the words in here when describing themselves is we are lost, we can never go home. There's the duality there. But we have this feeling of pain, of hurt, but it says for all the lies you told us. I'm trying to figure out which perspective that is told from, because it is a singular you. I'm trying to figure out if he's referring to someone else or referring to one of his selves. It says, though, in the end, I'll be what I will be. No loyal friend was ever there for me, which is interesting, given that he killed his cousin, brother? I don't remember. Who was like a really close friend. And it says, no loyal friend was ever there for me. Really interesting revision of his history. The final lines are, when you will weep, and you will weep when you face the end alone, you are lost, you can never go home. Talking about the solitary life he lives now, but how that's how it will always be, and really focusing on this darkness. And I wonder if this is Gollum speaking to Smeagol here. The darkness within telling him that you'll never have anyone, you'll always be alone, you can't ever go home, you're always lost, it's just going to be you and me from here on out, just being this darkness that brings him down. It is a tragic song that I think matches the fear and sorrow and pain that's presented in the chordal information as well as the performance. and just the exhaustive element of living like this, always having a voice within that puts you down constantly. It's a beautiful track here. I'm glad I got to come to this because, like I said, I don't remember this song at all. It's kind of mind-blowing that there is a song with any lyrics at all, besides maybe some of the I remember vaguely there was like an Elvish song that was sung, but it like wasn't done with a big orchestra. It was done inside of the movie diegetically, not an external film score element. Yeah, it blows my mind that this song exists at all and was in the film, but you know, end credits, so I suppose that makes sense. These are my thoughts on Gollum's song by, who's this, Howard Shore? Yes, Howard Shore composed it, and again, Emiliana Torrini performed the vocals on it. Uh, these are my thoughts. What are yours, though? Did you enjoy this? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Do you have your own take, perspective, or opinion on this song? Let me know. Put all of that as well as anything else you'd like to add into the comment section below. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.